Hello and welcome back to Win or Bin, the channel where I decide whether a game is due for the bin or given a nice platform for a win. Have we got a treat for you in this one? This is Iron Nest Heavy Turret Simulator. This is the demo with the game releasing in August as part of the Steam Next Fest. So for me, this is very much like taking part inside the old Gustav gun from Germany during the Second World War. The big old turret that went along the rail tracks. You've probably all seen pictures of it, maybe heard about it, but this huge, several thousand ton behemoth. And in my mind, we're inside that in this game. Aiming the gun, firing the gun, loading the gun, all of that, planning which direction you're sending it in. That's what it is in my mind anyway. You do everything. So first of all, you get some notification through from, let's call it head office, to do with whatever you need to do. You get some directions, so a map plot point where your plot point is. So you then go to the big table, you then use the markers, all brilliantly interactive, by the way. You put pins on the table on the appropriate coordinates, but not everything is obvious. It doesn't say the enemy is here necessarily. It might say, I need you to fire in a spot this distance away from this spot in this particular direction, and you have to try and put a pin in and then plot how you're going to control the gun, which bearing you want on the gun, which trajectory you want on the gun, how much power you want to put on the gun, i.e. how much gunpowder. So as you get these instructions through, you go through a very fine sequence of plotting the map, plotting the amount of gunpowder you're going to need, actually loading the gun itself, doing that correctly because that's important, the elevation and the bearing. So there's a lot to do here, but it's in those orders. And at the end of that, you pull the big fire button, off it goes. You then look at the map and you can see your shell move across the landscape on a map. You don't get to see it like on a 3D map or anything like that. And then you'll know if it hits the target because you'll see the imagery, so to speak, on the map board of the shell exploding or hitting the target, etc. So there's a lot of planning involved. You know, you can make of it what you will. You can make it as complicated as you want. There's plenty of tools. There's compasses, different color pencils, so many different little things you can pick up and stick on the map. It's great. Now, I know I've already given you a bit of an idea of the things I do like, but for the record, I will go through officially the things I do like. And actually, overall, this is so immersive. Lighting, the feeling of everything, the look of all of the controls. It is a diesel punk game and it looks absolutely brilliant and hits that theme on the nose. One thing I did love about the immersion, and you can take this as a positive or not, but you have the option to put a record player on and have some backing music when you're going around doing all of your warfare stuff. However, as we'll hear later on in my positives, I decided not to have the music on because the sound effects are so good and the whole atmosphere of the turret's sound is too good not to have on, and the music just gets rid of that sound effect. So for me, I turn the music off. That's not a criticism, that's a positive on the sound, but I'll come to that. Other positives are, again, with the visual side of things, but more to do with the interactive nature of the moving parts. You know, you've got so many levers and things that you can pull, lights that light up when you do things. You've got these things that if you stop something that's moving very quickly, very abruptly, so say you're trying to change the elevation and you pull the lever to make it spin fast and you suddenly stop that, then you'll get smoke come out or steam come out of one of the mechanisms and you have to turn the handle to stop the steam. So it's little things like that, but I love the interaction of so many moving parts in this. It's an absolute delight. I love the challenge of this as well. I mean, I've already covered it, but you get these missions come through with the different coordinates, but it's hard enough to make it a challenge because it doesn't give you everything, but it's not easy where you just breeze through it. And there seems to be a good mixture as well. And there's a nice newspaper clipping at the end of each message, and it seems like you're in the 1920s or something, but you get an idea of what you've achieved and a bit about the background story as you go through, actually, from that point of view. But the challenge itself isn't without narrative, and it's certainly not too hard, not too difficult. And then going back to my last point, well, not the last point, one of my last points, the sound effects. It's amazing. I'm going to just have at this point, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to leave you with some sound effects. The best one being when you fire the gun, the whole platform that you are on inside this turret shakes. The lights swing, the lights flicker. The noise is incredible, and on my headset it just reverberates through your skull, and it works brilliantly when it's loud. But absolutely brilliant. And the sound effects of all the levers and the gun loading and everything is brilliant too. But I'm going to just put some sound effects on just so you can have a listen to those. As you can tell, I'm not really going to be giving too many negatives here, but just a couple on the interest of balance, really, more than anything. Now, when you get the instructions for what you need to do with your gun, there's like two reels, so there's like a typewriter thing that prints out on this big piece of paper or parchment, and it tells you what you need to do, but there's, to the left of it, there's another one, and I don't know if it's because one of them's too small to show all the text. I don't think it flows on from the other. I think they're two separate things. I'm not quite sure why that is, to be honest, but maybe there's a reason. I'm putting that as a negative just because it would just be nice to have everything in one place. And off the back of that, I do actually like, going back to a positive, I do like the way that you can actually click on some of the words and it puts it on your scribble pad. Everything gets noted down on it, so you don't have to keep going back and rereading. It's great how you can just store notes on things. Anyway, that's a positive as well. Off the back of an apparent negative anyway, and a bit of backstory at the beginning of the game doesn't seem to be there. So there's me turning up in the turret, no idea why we're there. Would possibly be nice to know a little bit about that. But actually, you can see it on the other side. Maybe it's good to not know and you start learning as the game goes through, because you do get the information about the war that you're seemingly part of at the end of every mission that you complete. So again, negative, not a negative. Take that as you will. Overall, though, this game is phenomenal, and this is only a demo. It's overwhelmingly positive on Steam, the demo on the store page. This will be out in August, and for me, I'm getting this without a shadow of a doubt. So you'll be surprised to hear I'm putting this in the bin. No, not really, of course I'm not. This is going straight to the win pile. Brilliant game, great work to the developers for something so unusual, but so good. And you've pulled off everything that makes sense in the game. And you've basically provided things that people want and would expect of a game like this. You've done it. And I hope that more things get added to it and improved upon and made even better. You know, this has the potential to be incredible. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.